They have no argument.
Yeah.
They are going to get crushed here.
Oh.
And good, because it's time to dance. So I wanted to put up this Fox News story because what's going on right now in Michigan and throughout the country, ladies and gentlemen, is an absolute outrage. You know, I did an episode, I don't know, Joe, 2 years ago. I lose track of time. Who knows anymore? But where I talked about how some friends of mine in the intelligence field and in the political field, there's a video out there. It's probably copyrighted, so I can't put it on the show, but I'll describe it to you quickly what it is. It's a video of a guy in a park dancing, and everybody's laughing at him. It's a real video. It's not a joke.
Yeah.
You know the video. He's in a park, and it's on a grainy, it doesn't even look like a cell phone camera. It looks like it was from so long ago that it's on some kind of portable camera. It's very green. And he's dancing kind of erratically, and everybody's laughing at him and making a big joke out of it. And all of a sudden, someone else gets up and dances with him. And next thing you know, you have 3 people, then 5 people, then 100 people. Then the whole park is dancing. It's a real video. It's about 3 minutes long. It's one of the best videos I've seen in a while. It's not because the dancing is any good or because the music is any good or because it's even remotely entertaining. It says a lot about sociology, social psychology, the individual, and the crowd dynamic. Ladies and gentlemen, it's not the person that gets up and dances really that matters. He was dancing for a long time. Everybody was laughing at him. He's not the change agent. It's the first guy who gets up and dances with him. That's the one that matters. It's time to dance now. It's time to dance, ladies and gentlemen. It's not time to put anybody in danger. Don't mistake what I'm saying. Nobody's doing that. Nobody's suggesting that. It's a serious virus, should be treated as such. But ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to have a country left if we allow the governor of Michigan, the disastrous Gretchen Whitmer, Larry Hogan in Maryland, who I think has been as bad, and who, candidly is a Republican, and their ridiculous draconian measures where they think they're keeping the public safe, but they're not. Now, some things make a lot of sense. Social distancing, the wearing of masks. I'm not saying they should be mandated, but they definitely make sense. There are some sincere at-risk populations. But Gretchen Whitmer in Michigan, the disastrous governor, closing down aisles in supermarkets you're already in because the items are non-essential. Ladies and gentlemen, what the hell sense does that make? The governors in some other states, like the disastrous Andy Beshear in Kentucky, in essence, trying to put a halt on religious services where people are in their cars with the windows closed. What is this, an X-ray virus? What does it travel through proton streams? Are we serious? Even worse, what happened in Mississippi, where people were ticketed and fined for being at a religious service? No. This is going to stop. It's time to dance. Oh boy, is it time to dance. It's time for you to get up and dance and everybody to get up and dance with you, ladies and gentlemen. Playtime's over. Playtime is over. In your car with the windows closed. Here's a story at Fox News. Brooke Singman. It'll be in the show notes today. Please read it. This is worth your time. It's very well done. It's a long piece, but it describes our fight with our balance always between religious liberty and government intervention. Headline, Fox News, DOJ intervenes in Mississippi drive-in church case. Said city's actions target religious conduct. The Department of Justice, under Bill Barr, is finally getting involved. Put a statement of interest in a lawsuit where a bunch of people in Mississippi showed up for religious service in their cars and were fined and given tickets. Quote from the piece, today, the DOJ filed a statement of interest in support of a church in Mississippi that allegedly sought to hold parking lot worship services in which congregants listened to their pastor preach over their car radios while sitting in their cars in the lot with the windows up. Attorney General Barr said. The city of Greenville fined congregants $500 per person for attending these parking lot services while permitting citizens to attend nearby drive-in restaurants even with their windows open. No. Time to dance, folks. No way. Not on our watch. Not a chance.
Oh, what's happening? Oh my gosh.
I never thought I honestly never in my lifetime thought we'd be seeing this here.
Never, Dan.
Now, the piece is good for a number of reasons. I like pieces Articles, I should say. There's a guy who emails me, hates when I say pieces. Articles. This one is good by Brooke Singman because it not only describes the problem accurately, but it describes the argument and counter-argument. Obviously, the argument by the officials in Greenville who decided somehow finding people attending a religious service in their car with the windows closed was a good idea. But we need to know what their argument is. It makes you a more robust, vigorous debater when you understand the other side. Liberals never make an attempt to understand us. That's why they're so horrible debating. The argument is, well, this is a public safety threat. Okay, we get it. The virus is a public safety threat. The problem is, if you're suggesting sitting in your car around other people with the windows closed, listening to a service on your car radio is a public safety threat, then how come going to a restaurant drive-in with the windows open isn't a public safety threat? In other words, that doesn't quite pass the common sense test. For the government to do that, they have to have a compelling interest, number one. That one will give them a check. Stopping the spread of a virus is a compelling interest. I'm not saying this is legit. It's not the only fork here. So for the government to curtail a religious activity, going to church, practicing your religion, they must have a compelling, legitimate interest. So you can give them a check mark on that. All right, we don't want people at religious services because they could spread this deadly virus. Okay, they'll probably pass some legal muster for that, but that's not it. Because then, Joe, the government could stop religion and say anything's a compelling interest, right? Well, we don't want you going to church on Sunday because it stops economic activity for an hour on Sunday. That's our compelling interest. No more church on Sunday. They'd be laughed out of court. You have to meet the second prong too, which is the more important one. Because anything could be a compelling interest, especially with the government. It has to be done, your activity, government activity, to stop this religious activity via the least restrictive means. Meaning of all the options you have to stop that religious activity, you have to pick the least restrictive, not the most restrictive means. Ladies and gentlemen, this action in Greenville, Mississippi, clear as day. They have no argument here whatsoever to suggest you can't show up to a church service in your car with the windows closed. That we engaged in the least restrictive means of doing that, which was fining you. You did? Then how come you didn't fine people who went to the restaurant? I thought you said of all the options, you picked the least restrictive. No, you picked the most restrictive, issuing a fine. The least restrictive would have been to put out some kind of memo or public saying, hey, listen, we're not going to ban this service, but here are some guidelines for you. Wash your hands, keep your window. Right, Joe? That would have been the least. They picked the most restrictive. They chose law enforcement. People said, hey, go give these people a fine, but don't fine the people in the restaurant there with the windows open. They have no argument.
Yeah.
They are going to get crushed here. And good, because it's time to dance.
Yes,
it's time to get up, to see people dance and dance with them. Because, ladies and gentlemen, we're the sovereign here. This is our country. That's not a tagline. It's not a campaign slogan. The Constitution is meaningless if you don't believe in the Constitution and we don't have buy-in. And the Constitution grants powers to the people. Sometimes limited in some respects, based on certain litigation and constitutional interpretations. But the Bill of Rights is a document that limits the government, not you. It says what the government can't do. It doesn't say what you can't do.
You just heard the Dan Bongino Show. You can also get Dan's podcasts on iTunes or SoundCloud. And follow Dan on Twitter 24/7 @DBongino.